Juneteenth means to me a story of continued struggle in this country. The slaves had been emancipated 2 years prior at the end of the Civil War, but slave owners, they were still holding out what they believed was their right to economy. And even after the Civil War, we still had Jim Crow laws, we had segregation in school districts and stuff. Blacks were, not even allowed to walk on the same sidewalk as their white counterparts. And so there was still a long ways to go, and we still have things, even today, that we are fighting through. But Juneteenth serves as a reminder, not to me, and not to only to African Americans, but to everybody in this nation, that if we don't learn from history, we're doomed to repeat it. And it's also a story of continued progress and the hardships and the sacrifices made by many for us to get to where we are today.
Juneteenth is a celebration of freedom. What it means to me is honoring those legacies of strength and resilience and making sure that I live a life that honors those spirits.
Juneteenth means to me turning pain into purpose. And I say that because my great-great-grandmother was born into slavery. And I remember her telling us stories as a child of what she had to endure, and she never wanted us to endure that. She died at the age of 106, and she left us with 189 acres of land that we still own in this family to this day. As I reflect on Juneteenth, I'm reminded that certain circumstances and situations have mirrored since slavery. Although slavery was abolished in 1865, we still had to face the Jim Crow era, the Civil Rights Movement, and still racism to this day. So what Juneteenth means to me is I will celebrate in honor of my great-great-grandmother, Mama Viola, and I will wear the badge of honor and purpose.
Juneteenth means freedom, not for only black folk, for everybody. It's a long time coming, but it's finally here. And I was raised back in the 50s, 40s and 50s, but Juneteenth was a special day for the black folks. People at work was off, they had a big picnic, just fellowship. And as time progressed on, it began to change, it's more white celebrated now than black do. Right here in Mansfield, it used to be a picnic over in the park, right across the street. And it was more white there than actually black. So they began to accept it as what it's supposed to be. It's a big day.
It represents family to me, but outside of that, and outside of just that cultural remembrance, it's about strength and endurance. Because when you think about what Juneteenth really stands for, being a part of that just gives me hope. And it gives me the strength to know that I can do anything I put my mind to because my ancestors went through what they did and were able to bring us right here today. Juneteenth is about family, culture, it's about love.
It's a celebration of the unwavering African American spirit. It's building on the backbones of those who helped liberate us, because knowing that African Americans, not just the government, but African Americans themselves liberated themselves in a sense. It's a celebration of how we can build upon their hard work and achieving things that they probably didn't think of. So whether it's being in spaces like filmmaking, like doctors, like the educational field, just how can we never settle for less and always achieve for more?
Juneteenth is for us a turning point in Texas history. We remember a moment, something that happened, and so as a community we're going to get together and we're going to celebrate that. We're going to have some great food and fellowship, and we're going to celebrate that at a particular moment in time, Texas moved in a different direction. But it is also a community coming together and reaffirming our commitment to a movement that began with Juneteenth, a movement of working for equality and justice, the highest ideals of our nation, and for me as a pastor, some of the core values of the Christian faith.
Juneteenth means to me the freedom to be able to choose how we live. It was the start of living as we please, the freedom to live, love, and laugh, to build the community we have today. And of course, not all the slaves were free. There was still slavery going on here in Texas, and the really big significant thing about that is it just shows how much they try to keep us in bondage. But now we're a thriving community today. It all started with Juneteenth.
For me, Juneteenth is not only important for the African American community, but also for American in general. As a mother, it's really important for me to educate myself about the Juneteenth and about the importance to live each other side by side in harmony as a community.
When one of us is oppressed, none of us really have true freedom. And so with Juneteenth, we have the ability to celebrate and recognize all people that have found oppression, while it is in recognition of the proclamation in abolishing slavery, but when women are oppressed, when Native Americans are oppressed, when Asian Americans are oppressed, anyone finds themselves under some type of oppression, then none of us really have true freedom. So Juneteenth, like I said, is the exclamation point to the 4th of July and celebrating all of our freedom together.
What Juneteenth means to me is true freedom. I'm reminded of a quote by Maya Angelou that said, "The truth is, no one is free until we're all free." So to have this information actually reach Texas 2 years later on June 19th, it's amazing, and obviously it's a start to a new beginning for us.
There are so many people who know absolutely nothing about it. They don't know that after the emancipation, it took 2.5 years for the enslaved people in Texas to know. When Gordon Granger came to Galveston with 6,000 or 7,000 Black troops, and they found out that they were free, they started celebrating, and we've been celebrating ever since. Juneteenth is about freedom.